Okay, so let's start seated. Finding a comfortable seat. And you might get any fidgets out that would feel good. Sort of allow yourself to settle a little bit. You might wiggle back and forth, side to side, until you really feel like you've got a solid foundation. Feet on the floor, bum solid in the chair, both sides evenly weighted. And then let your hands come to rest wherever you like, on your thighs, palms up, palms down. You might take a few deep breaths as we arrive. Your eyes can be open or closed. And then as your body starts to settle, finding a lift of the spine, some length, crown of the head lifting. And even with that lifting, that length in the spine, the shoulders might melt down around the spine, softening. You might notice any sensations or softness or release of tension in the forehead, in the jaw, maybe in the chest, in the belly. And give yourself a few moments to breathe here, just to breathe. As we focus on the breath, you might allow the breath to deepen or to slow slightly. And then we'll start to move a little bit. Let's start with the head. For today's practice, let's start by exhaling and turning the head to look over one shoulder. We'll inhale back again. And then exhale to look over the other shoulder. Inhaling back. My boomer. Exhaling, moving with your breath. A few more times. And then the next time you feel even, let your head come back to center. Pausing for a moment. Give yourself a moment to notice sensations. And then we'll nod the head up and down, exhaling to bring the chin down towards the chest. Inhaling to lift the chin up. Again, moving with your breath, following your own rhythm. And the next time you feel even, let your head come back to center again. Coming back to that tall seat. Resetting the tall spine. Noticing again the soles of the feet on the ground, the bum on the chair. Just a reset. Breathe. And then let's move the head a little bit more. We'll bring one ear towards one shoulder. Just pause here, breathe into the opposite side of the neck, allow a gentle stretch. And we'll inhale back up again. And exhale other ear to other shoulder. Again, giving yourself time just to pause here to breathe, allowing the gentle stretch on the opposite side. And inhaling up. Moving into the shoulders, so let's shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, inhale. Then as you exhale, release them down. About twice more like that, inhaling up. Exhaling to release. One more time. Excuse me. And then moving into rolling the shoulders. We'll roll the shoulders, whichever direction feels most natural first. And then roll the shoulders the other way. And then if it would feel good to accentuate that roll, we'll bring fingertips to the shoulders and then draw circles with the elbows. And then switching directions, rolling the other way. Releasing the shoulders down, releasing the fingertips from the shoulders. Pause for a moment. Okay, from here, let's move into the wrists, rolling or finding some wrist circles. And then switching directions, circles the other way. Shaking out the hands. Stretch the arms out wide, stretching the fingertips to the far walls, I guess. And then let the elbows bend so that the fingertips point down a little bit or hang down. And then swing the lower arms. Now you're moving into the elbows a little bit. And then flip the palms upward, stretching the arms wide. And we'll bring fingertips to the shoulders. And then we'll bring the arms forward. And same movement, bring fingertips to the shoulders a few times. And releasing the arms down, releasing the hands down. You might shrug the shoulders a little bit, notice sensations there. And then we'll move into the hands. So starting with hands in a prayer position, with all the pads of your fingers touching. Then allow the pads of your fingers to stay touching as you draw the palms apart. And then bring the palms back together again. We'll keep pinky and thumb touching and open up the middle fingers into kind of a flower shape. Bringing the pads back together, the palms back together. Keep the pads together, stretch the palms away. Palms back together, spread the middle fingers out into a flower. Keeping pinky and thumb together. One more time in each direction. Palms together, keep pads of the fingers as you stretch palms away. Bringing the hands back together, keep pinkies and thumbs touching. Middle fingers come away. And then release, come back to a prayer position. We'll move into the hands and wrists a little bit. With your hands starting off in a prayer position, we'll inhale to stretch the fingertips up, stretch the arms up. As you exhale, bring the hands as low as you can. If you like, the gaze can follow the fingertips as you move and breathe, inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. And bring the hands back to center or prayer. And then release the hands, release the wrists. We'll do a little bit more for the hands. Take the pointer finger on one hand, and we'll stretch into each finger in turn on the other hand. So starting with pointer finger to thumb, stretch the thumb back. And then pointer finger to pointer finger, stretch the first finger back. Moving on to middle finger. And ring finger. And pinky finger. And shaking out the hands, we'll switch sides. So point your finger on the other hand. Open hand on the other hand. We'll start with the thumb, stretching into the thumb. And then first finger. And middle finger. Ring finger. And pinky. Shaking out the hands again, shaking out the fingers. Moving down a little bit into the spine. Let's start off with the shoulder blades, upper back. Bringing your hands into palms facing the floor, elbows bent at about shoulder height, if that feels okay. With an inhale, we'll draw the elbows back, pushing the heart forward. And then exhale to release. So just notice as you inhale, as you draw the elbows back, if your belly comes forward as well. Release. If your belly's coming forward, aim to keep this lower part of the torso, the belly, ribs, and pelvis, sort of in line and stable, aiming to move just the upper chest. So keep the ribs sort of static, as though they're somehow tied to the front of your hip bones. Inhaling, just the heart forward, just moving the shoulder blades. And then exhaling to release. Moving with your breath, inhaling. And exhaling. One more time, inhale. Let's pause here, keep breathing. How would it feel to imagine softening the area around the heart, the front of the chest, even while the shoulder blades are pulling together? One more full breath cycle. And next exhale, let's release and let the hands come down. Finding any wiggles or shoulder shrugs that feel good or necessary. We'll move down into our side bend. So starting off today with hands on the waist. Let the hands come down so far that they're sort of around the rim of your pelvis or where your pelvis is. Use the hands as a reminder to keep the pelvis really heavy. Keep the sit bones heavy on the chair. Lift up the crown of the spine. Find your inhale. As you exhale, tip over to one side. Imagine stretching away from this side of your pelvis. If it would feel good, you could bring the top arm into the stretch so that it helps you stretch the side body. It's kind of accentuating the stretch. When you're ready to come up, inhale back up. Let the hand come back to the waist, and we'll reset in our tall spine again. Reminder to yourself, again, keep pelvis, keep sit bones really heavy. Set up your tall spine, inhale. And we'll tip over to the other side, keeping both sides of your bum heavy, stretching away from that hip. And then if you wish, and it feels okay, you can bring that top arm into the stretch, accentuating the stretch in the side body. And then we'll come all the way back up again, release your hand to the waist. And then release your hands all together. Finding our twist next. Just notice where the feet are, even the feet out. You want the ankles more or less under the knees. You want the feet pointing in the same direction forward, if that feels okay for you. Gentle push of the feet into the ground. Inhale up. As you exhale, turn the shoulders in one direction. Then imagine turning the ribs, following the shoulders. Then you might imagine turning the belly button in the same direction. Your hands can catch your leg or thigh, They can catch the chair. If it feels okay for your neck, you might look over the back shoulder. Unwinding when you're ready, coming back to center. Pausing for a moment. Reset in your tall spine. We'll find a twist on the other side next. Inhale up. Exhale to turn the shoulders. Turn the ribs, or imagine turning the ribs. Imagine turning the belly button. Your hands can catch your leg or thigh or the chair or both. And then depending on how your neck feels, maybe looking over that back shoulder. Unwinding when you're ready, making your way back to center. Give yourself a moment to reset. Moving into arching and rounding the spine next. Hands come towards the knees. Set up in your neutral spine first, finding that in between, that reset pose. When your next exhale arrives, draw the belly in. Tuck the front body in, round the spine like a Halloween cap. Chin might tuck in towards the chest. You might roll back on your sit bones. And then bring the chest and belly forward. Gaze might lift. Inhale. Arching the back into cow pose. Shoulder blades pull together. And then moving with your breath, continuing the movement. Exhaling to round, Halloween cat. Inhaling to arch. And making your way back to your nice tall spine when you feel about even again. Give yourself a moment to pause. And then from here, we'll move down into the legs. So let's go. So choosing the side you want to start with, we'll lift the first leg and then find some circles in the leg. So you can either use your hand to move the leg or you can move the leg on its own. But finding circles as big as your hip allows. And then we'll switch directions. Circles the other way. And then bring the knee forward. We'll keep the thigh still while we move the lower legs. So sometimes I like to point my foot, imagining that, I don't know, my leg's a wooden spoon or something, stirring a pot. And then switch directions. Circles in the lower leg, below the knee. And then we'll hold the shin still and find some circles in the ankle. Switching directions, circles the other way. And pointing and flexing the foot a few times. Releasing the foot to the ground. Pausing for a moment, notice sensations, differences from one foot to the other, one leg to the other. And then we'll go to side two, lifting your second leg up. Finding some circles in the hip. And switch directions, circles the other way. Bringing the knee forward, keeping the thigh still. You might point the foot as we draw circles with just the lower leg, like you're stirring a pot. And then switch directions, circles the other way. And keep the shin still. We'll find some circles in the ankle. And switch direction, circles the other way. And then pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And releasing the foot to the floor. Giving yourself a moment, pause. We didn't do any core, so I'm going to go back to the core and then we'll move on to our sun salutations. I'll turn my chair. You can stay as you are. But let yourself come as close towards the edge or give yourself as much space between you and the backrest as you can. So you've got sort of maximum leaning back space. Lots of space to lean back. And then you'll set yourself up in your tall seat. Finding the feet on the floor again. Nice solid foundation, bum on the chair. Maybe a little bit closer to the edge than usual, but still firmly planted. Then we'll bring the hands behind to the seat of the chair. Gentle drawing back of the shoulder blades. And then start to lean the torso back as the feet get a little bit lighter, coming up maybe onto your tiptoes. So first step is we'll draw one leg up towards the ribs, as much towards your belly as you can. And then release that foot down. Other side, draw the leg up towards your ribs, as close as you can. And then release. This time we'll aim to bring both up. So it can be one at a time or both come up simultaneously. Draw the legs up as high as you can. Keep breathing. And then release the legs down. And come back to your tall seat for a moment. You might wiggle the knees from side to side. And to let go of the work in the belly, you might lean forward, softening the belly, softening the waist and low back. Send your breath deep into the belly. Send the breath into the low back, the waist. Twice more, we'll find that work. So come back up to your tall seat. Hands come behind you on the chair again. This time, rather than do, well, either you can repeat one leg at a time, or both legs can come up. If both legs come up, you might play with a little bit of squeeze between the inner thighs. Breathe. One more full breath cycle. Then release the legs down. You can wiggle the knees side to side or find that forward fold or a little bit of both. Let's soften the work away. And then last one. Come on back up. Set yourself up. Hands behind you on the chair. One leg at a time or both. If you can find your balance point, then you might even, for this third one, let go of the chair, depending on where you are, how you feel. You can find that balance point on the chair if you have enough space to lean back. You might be able to let go of the hands. Keep breathing. A little bit of inner thigh squeeze. And then we'll release. Release the feet down. Soften away the work again. Breathe into the belly. Breathe into the waist. Breathe into the low back. And then all the way up again, setting yourself up in your tall seat. We'll move through our sun salutations. As you're ready, we'll inhale the arms up. Exhale to let the hands come down again. Arching the spine next. Inhale, chest and belly forward. Exhale to round, Halloween cat shape. Inhaling back to neutral. Exhaling to fold forward. Sweeping the right arm up into a twist with your inhale. Exhaling down again. Inhaling the left arm up into a twist. And exhaling down. Coming all the way back up. Inhale, arms squeeze off, coming back to standing or back to tall spine. Release your hands back down to your left. Pause for a breath. We'll move through that twice more. Inhaling arms up when you're ready. Exhaling the hands down. Arching the spine. Inhale, chest and belly forward, cow pose. Exhale to round, Halloween cat. Draw the belly in. Inhale back to neutral. Exhale to fold. With an inhale, sweeping the right arm up into the twist. And exhaling down. Inhaling the left arm up. And exhaling down. Coming all the way back up. Inhale, arms sweep up. Releasing hands. Pause for a breath. One more time through. Inhaling up. Exhaling to release hands. Arching the spine. Inhale. Exhaling to round, Halloween cat. Inhaling back to neutral. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling the right arm up into a twist. And exhaling down. Inhaling the left side up into a twist. And exhaling down. Coming all the way back up. Inhale, arms sweep up. Releasing hands. Give yourself a moment to pause as you come back to your tall seat. Notice sensations in the body. And then we'll make our way to standing. Let's start off our standing poses with a chair variation of downward dog. So you can choose either to use the seat of the chair or the backrest of the chair for height. Let your hands rest on your chosen height. And then we'll walk the feet back, letting the tailbone reach back in one direction, crown of the head in the other, stretching into the spine. Taking a few breaths here. And then making your way towards the chair when you're ready. Coming to a tall standing position, feet to the floor, evening out the weight between the feet. If you like, the hands can come down by your sides just while we're finding this equal pose. And then we'll move through a bit of a standing flow. So hands both need to have access to the backrest of the chair. We'll bring the feet a little bit closer together, but you will want a little bit of distance between you and the chair. So the fingertips can sort of reach forward, as long as you're sort of able to keep that nice tall, straight body. So with the help of the chair in front of you, even out the weight. We'll stand on one foot. Let's stand on the left foot and we'll let the right foot come forward. So right knee will lift forward and come up as high as it can, squeezing it as though you could squeeze it in towards your ribs. Breathe here for a moment. And then without letting that foot touch the ground, we'll sweep that leg back behind us, reaching towards the back wall. So you can use your chair as support. Reach out through the heel of the back leg. Breathe. And letting that back leg land. So we're landing in a lunge. Toes come down. Left knee can stay bent. Finding your high lunge. Hands can stay on the chair. Hands can come to the waist, or hands can reach up. You've got your choices. Pausing your lunge. And then we've got one more optional complication to add. Your hands might come back to the chair for this, but how would it feel to bend that back knee and let it dip towards the floor as low as feels okay? It can be any amount. And then come back up. Pause back in your lunge. Then we'll shift the weight into the front foot. So rather than fully stepping forward, would it feel okay to lift that back leg up again? Reach out through the heel, kind of coming out of this sequence of poses in the reverse. Then start to bring the knee forward as your body comes upright. Can you bring your knee forward, squeezing it up as high as you did when we began? And then releasing right foot back to the floor. Feel both feet on the floor. Come back to your equal position. Breathe. We'll find that whole sequence of poses on the other side. So again, hands can start off on the chair. And if you'd like for hands to be on the waist, you can always do hands on waist and then know that the chair is there. Standing on the right foot this time. Left knee comes forward and lifts as high as you can lift it, squeezing it as though you could squeeze it in towards your ribs. Breathe. Then we'll swing the foot back behind us, stretching the leg out towards the back wall. Reach out through the heel. The body can tip forward as the foot lifts. Breathe. Then letting the back foot come down to the ground so you're in a long stance. Right knee is bent, front knee is bent. Back foot has landed. We're in a high lunge. Hands can stay on the chair or come to the waist or reach up. Optional complication. Hands can stay lifted if you're feeling pretty stable, or to the waist or to the chair. Bending into the back knee and dipping that back knee as low as feels okay. And coming back up again. Pause in your high lunge. Preparing to come forward again. We'll shift the weight into the front foot. Lift that back foot up. Reach out through the heel. And then bring the knee forward as the body comes upright. See if you can bring the knee forward. Reach towards or squeeze it up towards your torso. And then release the foot down to the ground. Even on both sides. We'll sort of move through that sequence a little bit more quickly, not hold each pose as long. Now that we've got a feel for the sequence. So setting yourself up, now you know where we're going. Hands to the chair or to your waist. Standing on left foot, we'll bring the right knee forward, squeeze in towards your torso, and then sweep that foot back, reaching out through the heel. Stretch as far back as you can, and then land the right foot down. Pause in your high lunge. And then you might dip, bend the back knee, dipping it down as low as feels okay, and then come back up. Breathe. Coming forward again. Shift your weight into the front foot. Lift off of that back leg, reach it out as high as you can, or as far as you can towards the back wall, and then bring the knee forward, squeeze it in towards your torso, lift it as high as you can before releasing to the ground. Take an in-between breath. Switching sides, standing on the right. Left knee comes up as high as you can. Sweep the left leg back, reaching out through the heel as far back as you can. Then let the left toes land, coming into your high lunge. Pause here, breathe. Maybe bending into the back knee and letting that back knee dip down as low as feels okay before coming back up. Preparing to come forward again. Shifting your weight into your right foot. Lift the back foot up. Reach back as far as you can. And then we'll sweep the knee forward as the body comes up. Lift the knee as high as you can forward. Release. Back to the ground. Equal on both sides again. Breathe. Just feel both feet on the floor, even out the weight again. Find the tall spine, soft shoulders. Breathe. From here, if a forward fold might feel good, there are a few variations we can try. We could do the usual with hands on the backrest of the chair, walking the feet back and coming into our downward dog. You have the option also to stay a little bit closer to the chair. You can move just or step about just a little wider than hip width distance. Knees can bend, and you can allow yourself to fold towards the backrest of the chair. You might support yourself on your forearms, letting the forehead rest on the forearms. You could do the same with the seat of the chair if it felt good to come a little bit lower. So feet are still a little wider than hip width distance, knees can be bent. We're hinging at the hips. Hands can come to the seat of the chair, or maybe forearms can come to the seat of the chair, or you can rest your forehead on the seat of the chair or forearms, depending on how low it feels good to come down. Give yourself a few breaths in your chosen forward fold, whether it's the down dog, using the backrest as a support, or using the seat as a support. Making your way slowly up when you're ready. Let's find one more small balance before we finish practice. So let one hand have the support of the chair. Setting yourself up on both feet. Even out the weight. And then start to shift your weight closest or into the foot closest to the chair. Let the outside foot start to lift. You can come onto toes, or the foot can fully lift off the floor. And we'll sweep the knee away from the chair. So toes can be a pivot point, or the sole of the foot can come to the shin. Your hand can stay on the chair. The other hand can come to the waist or be a branch. You can play with lifting the hand, supportive hand if you like. Wherever you are, remembering to breathe. We'll bring the knee forward. Stretch and lift the leg as high as you can, or releasing down. Then we'll switch the chair. Other side. On the other side, again, we'll shift the weight into the chair, the foot closest to the chair. Outside leg will start to get light, either coming onto the toes or the foot can fully lift. And we'll sweep the knee away from the chair. Toes can be a pivot point, sole of the foot can be on the shin. Hands can be where they're most helpful. Hand that's on the chair might play with getting a little bit lighter. Hand away from the chair can be on the waist or out as a branch. You can play with both arms if you like, but remember to breathe. We'll bring the knee forward when you're ready. Stretch the leg out, lift as high as you can before releasing the leg down to the ground again. As you come back to standing on both feet, do a quick scan of the body. Notice if there are any areas that are looking for a little more attention. And if they are, find any other movements that would feel good. Give your body what it's craving. Once you've satisfied any of those last movements or stretches, then we'll make our way back to seated, back to the chair. No rush. As we make our way back to seated, the hands can rest in any position that feels good. Palms up or palms down. You can test both. Notice how your body receives that position. If you'd like to lean back against the backrest of the chair, that's optional. You can stay tall. You can close your eyes or leave them open. But give yourself a few moments of stillness here. Let go of the work of practice. And come back to your breath. And as we move to close practice, your hands can stay where they are, or they might come over your heart or into a prayer position. But send some gratitude to yourself, first of all, for making the time to move and breathe together, and for honoring your body and your breath. With much gratitude for allowing me to guide you through practice. And with gratitude to all the students and teachers who have come before us. Om Shanti, Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you.